Hey guys, Brad here at Elliott Wave Made Simple. Today we are going to cover silver, oil, and natural gas. Just a heads up, starting this week, every Wednesday, I'm going to release an educational video. That is, I'm not going to be doing analysis on Wednesday. I'm going to be teaching some of the basics of Elliott Wave, some of the core concepts, the foundational elements of Elliott Wave, so that you have a better chance of building upon your knowledge, building upon the skills that you're learning from watching these videos. Okay, let's jump into the analysis, starting with silver. Here we go. All right, so here I'm zoomed out a bit, looking at the 6-hour chart of silver. As you know, we are clocking this as a bullish structure. And what we are really stalking this for is we're looking for a move in the heart of a third wave. And so what we have is this instrument is building upon itself. It's getting higher highs, it's getting higher lows. Okay. And the structure is bullish. So let's look at a little detail here. Now, in the spirit of simplicity, I just want to give you parameters based on what I'm seeing from an Elliott wave perspective. So ultimately, this does look like the top of the next wave one. And then we have what is a 3-wave pullback. And as you know, the C waves are composed of 5 waves. So we do have that in here. The proportions are not ideal, but hey, it's 5 waves. So this whole thing is 3 waves. And where did it retrace to? Almost the 618 of this entire move up to this level. So that's a very realistic place to look for wave 2. In other words, a bottom. Now what we had is another 5-wave move up off of that low, which is another thing to get excited about. So this is the classic Elliott wave: 5 up, 3 down, a beginning of another micro or nano 5 up. And now the question is, what is going on right here? There was a chance that we had enough waves in place right here for that to be the low, and we got rejected up here and have now come back and made a newer low. So in my view, I think the most likely scenario is this is getting another ABC down for a deeper wave 2. So there's a couple scenarios here, but just to put some labels on this. All right. So, and as is standard fashion for a 3-wave move, if A equals C, then you could expect to see C come down here early in the week. Call it 27.36 down to 27. Will this question mark get answered? Now, there's also a chance, of course, because anything can happen. If this is going to come, the deeper this comes, the more likely it is you could get an extension in that C wave. Not unusual at all. The first extension is the 1,236, which puts you at 26.48. The next extension beyond that is 26.14. So I still think silver is going to come lower. It certainly already has enough waves in place for this to be the area that we want to see support hold. If it doesn't hold, let me give you some parameters. Let's try to keep it real simple. So for right now, a decent parameter to the downside is 27.04. This is the next best chance for a bullish structure that would be considered more immediately bullish, would be to have price continue to come lower and hold somewhere above 27.04. That would be ideal. I actually have always liked this area right here. There's a little bit of liquidity left over here. If it wanted, this is a 6-hour chart, by the way. If it wanted to come down here to 27.30s, that'd be reasonable. There's also a trend line that kind of goes right through right here. So depending on what time, how long it takes, you could see the 27.30s early this week. All right. And then we'll play this same Game again. You know how we just looked for 5-wave move over here? We're going to do the same thing. For if this catches support above 2704, we're going to look for 5 waves up, just like we did here. So the first parameter I'm giving you in silver is 2704, and the other parameter is basically $2.50 higher at 29.50. So the floor and the ceiling are pretty clear here. I have this line 28.27 as an interesting level, and you can see price has interacted with that this zone many times, and it's right back there again. So the question is it going to get below that and come back down here and test 27 again? Or is it going to keep coming and get an extension? Now, once this plays out earlier in the week, we're going to get a better idea of structure here, and I'm going to be able to dial it in a little better. And before I move on from silver, we're going to go look at a lower time frame. So for right now, call it 2704 and 29.50. And then I don't want to scare anybody, but I have to mention this because it is possible if this is really an A wave, because an A wave can be composed of 5 waves or 3 waves. An A wave is a variable wave. So, but if this is an A wave and this is a B wave, because I know it might make your head explode, it is possible for B wave to evolve as a 5-wave structure, although it's less likely, less frequent, but it does happen. So if this is an A and this is a B, it is not out of the realm of possibility. If silver wants to get if it breaks all of this support and silver wants to get a deeper wave 2, it is not unreasonable to see it all the way down here. Now that's really going to make your head explode, but we just take it one step at a time, and we're using parameters. Now, if you're in the room, and when I say room, what I'm talking about is the Professor Trades. If you're in the Professor Trades room, you know we're scalping. We're trading the shorter term time frames. We're day trader scalpers. I'm presenting Elliott Wave so that if you are scalping and we're in there together with Armando, who is the professor, and we're scalping and you have an entry and it really moves in your favor, you can refer to Elliott Wave to try to get a handle on where might this wave project to, whether you're short or long, whatever your bias is, whatever you're trading. If you are able to leave a runner on after coming and checking the Elliott Wave work, I find that this is the best success that I'm having in the room with Professor Trades, is we're using his level, we're using his Fibonacci, which is not too terribly unlike Elliott Wave. It's just simpler. And Armando is focused on giving you 20 pips or so immediately. Take the gains. He has an extremely high success rate on a percentage basis of the trades that he places. It's over 80% are actually working. And he's scalping, though. So use Elliott Wave to look for the projections. Where might this wave go if it goes really in your favor and then keeps going? You've already taken your gains on the shorter term, but maybe you had 2 contracts or 3 positions or 5 positions. You're taking it off as it keeps going, but using Elliott Wave gives you an idea of where the extension might target so you can maximize your gains. The other thing about Elliott Wave is you're getting, I believe, solid parameters. Okay, back to the chart. So you've already got a couple parameters, 2704, 29.50. If it extends down into here, you could see 26.50, another 50 cents lower. Would not, crush my dreams at all. And in fact, in order for silver to not be bullish, it's going to have to even break this level. It's going to have to come dramatically. This is really my line in the sand is 22.78, just for me personally, because I've been building into longs and I've been kind of trading around a core. But I'm going to watch for a reaction somewhere down here. Now, before I move on from silver, let's just drop down. Here are the details of silver. Remember I said 2704 is kind of a line in the sand. So let me just go ahead and put that on this lower time frame chart. I'm calling that really the floor. And then the ceiling is going to be 29.50. So on this chart, that's way up here. So that's this seal. The ceiling is up here. The floor is down here. This was a bit of a clue, but I'm getting rid of that. So really what I'm looking for here is price going to get rejected somewhere if it wants to come higher? I mean, of course, it could just go lower directly. I have no idea. Maybe it gaps up at the open and comes up into here. But for this to be highly predictive, then price is going to get rejected. If price gets rejected somewhere up into this area, I think it becomes more likely that you open the door to down here. And isn't this interesting? 2730s. I was just talking to you on the longer time frame about silver. 2730s is a decent parameter. 2704 is more of like a line in the sand you don't want to see below. But 2730s is very reasonable. If, especially if, and these are your parameters, is it going to get rejected and not get much above 2872? And really it's 2950 is a more lasting, meaningful parameter. But on the nano stuff, we're scalpers. So you see price come up into here. If you don't have a swing trade, if you're not building into a swing long, then and you're a scalper, this is the kind of area once you start to see some rejection in here, you could short any of the retraces because it'll get rejected and it'll rattle around. So if you start seeing rejection in this box, you could take a short and then look for a 5-wave move down into the 2750 to 2730s, ideally. Okay, so that is silver. Now we are going to move on and look at crude oil. I'm going to kind of keep it moving. I'm not going to go into as much detail. I just want to give you the parameters. Ever since oil has broken a couple of key levels, we have been looking for lower, and that is what's happening. This rejection has happened. This is still looking at a longer term time frame, 8-hour chart. But these are the fibs. There's a lot of confluence down here. And I'm going to keep it really simple on this longer term chart, looking for this to finish off a 5-wave move, which is going to be a C wave somewhere down into here for the low. So call it 6660, this region, this zone. Now, maybe, it's already bouncing a little bit higher from there, but it would look better if this can get rejected up in here and come down into this zone before it gets a more meaningful bounce. And in other words, I think we're going to be chopping with a bias towards the downside into these lower fibs. So I think just to keep it real simple, call this a fib cluster that should act as support if price wants to come down. And if it can't get it back above this area, this is the next area right here. And then there's one more lower low below that I think is reasonable. And like I always say, the reason I got to here is by taking measurements. So again, I will keep taking measurements. So call it 6660 zone. These are zones, and 6420. These are zones. Okay. So we definitely have a short bias. If you're a scalper like me, if you see price coming back up, you want to keep shorting it and stay small and layer into a short trade. So let's hop down to the lower time frame here. Now, this is what I was talking about in one of the videos. I don't know if it was last week or whatever. I had this box on here, and I even said it in the video. If you see price come up into this box and get some rejection, this is your next short opportunity. Well, we play the same game over and over again. Same thing happened here. It came up to the same exact fibs. Almost hitting the 764 here. Almost hit the 764 here. I'm counting this as a wave 4, hit right in the middle of these boxes. So now what I think is happening is we are going to come down and get down into this box down here. And this is really where I would love to build into something resembling a swing long position in crude. So, I'm calling this a pivot. So if we want to be short, we want to see what kind of reaction, is price going to keep coming up higher and start getting rejected in here. Also, just looking at this, this bounce could easily get contained. It might not even make it up this high. Anything can happen, but the idea is it's going to be a better long position to get down here in somewhere into this zone. Okay, and this is a smaller time frame, right? I was just showing you the much longer time frame. So now I'm down here on this lower time frame stuff. And the last thing I'll do here just for you, if I put a fib at the top of that, I just want to see where this is really going to. Okay, so the 618 is just below the pivot there. So I'm going to make these gray. And what I'll be very curious about is to see, is price going to even make it to the 618? I will not be surprised if it does not even make it, because it's been weak sauce. But coming after a weekend, who knows if there's geopolitical stuff. Geopolitical with commodities absolutely can be a catalyst. But who knows? You could gap up and then get rejected up into here. It's going to be a good short opportunity, and to get one more shove down. All right, so that's what I got in crude oil. And as always, got to remind you guys, if you're looking for help with your trading, your scalping, if you're looking for a better mindset, you're looking for support, you're having a hard time trading as a lone wolf, look at the link in the description. It's called The Professor Trades. We now have a free open section called the Traders Lounge. I'm in there. Armando's in there each day. We're giving away just basically some freebies, some longer time frame charts. There's other members in there posting their charts as well. So if you want to come in and just get a taste of what we're doing, it's free. Just click the link. It's in the description of this video. Okay, now let's move on and take a look at the last thing I'm going to cover right now, which is natural gas. The $1,000,000 question is, are we already bottomed, so we're going to get the seasonal highs coming up? Certainly possible. Looking back historically, it's a little early to get the seasonal push. The seasonal push usually comes later. So I have a slight bias to be short to the downside, even though at the moment, I happen to still be long. And what I'm really, here's the parameters. Let's just give you some parameters. If this is an A, B, C corrective, meaning we are still going to get another lower low before the seasonality of this instrument kicks in. If we're going to still get a lower low, we're going to break this level where I'm putting that B wave, and we're going to go down. However, it is also possible that we're in a corrective move, which is going to take you higher immediately, more directly. But then guess what? You're still going to get a lower low, and then you won't get the seasonality bullish moves until long after Christmas, next January or February even. So that's just my opinion. Anything can happen. So price is king. So here's a parameter of sorts. If this is bullish in a C wave, it's going to get above this level, and it's very likely going to get up into this zone up here, call it 2384 or higher. And really an ultimate area of resistance, if just in case if it did something crazy like it does, and it just plows right through, this would be the next level, call it 2.450, $2.450 up into this zone. Okay, so in other words, if you're short or you want to be short, this is not a bad risk reward to be short, because you can put your stop, stay really small, and put your stop above this level somewhere. Because if it comes up here, well, actually, even if it came up here, I still think it's going to get a rejection. It's still going to get a wave 4 up in here. Okay, so but it makes more sense to short from either up here or up here. But a more exciting scenario, if price wants to do this, it's not up to me. Price does whatever it wants to do. So if it starts getting rejected up in here, and then you see price come back down and get below this, I'm calling it the pivot. Really call it 2.188. This is a great tell, and I think if that happens, then we can end up going much lower. I got to bring these fibs over. They're so far over there, but this is really what we're looking at, is all the way down there below $2. 2307. Let me move this over. I mean, I know that's pretty dramatic, right? That's kind of sounds like crazy talk, right? Well, it's just Fibonacci and it's just Elliott wave. So there's, just as I'm showing you the fibs down there, there are fibs up here too. So the parameters are, got to get above 2.325 to be bullish, and got to get below 2.188 to be bearish. So this is the floor. This is the floor. This is the ceiling. And last thing, let's just hop down and look at sort of a more nano structure. We are right into a very decent resistance zone, just in terms of structure. This is it. So, if you want to if you don't want to risk very much and be short, stay real small and get short in here. But then if it keeps coming, you're gonna very likely come up here and see these higher levels, on probably targeting these pop-ups over here just initially. So you decide, you define your risk, but these are the parameters. 2.325. These are the same parameters I just showed you, but now you have a little bit of context. Okay. So it's really these arrows and these are the levels. Cool. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. Again, if you're getting value out of these videos, I'm going to be doing it every Sunday, this kind of analysis. Subscribe so you get the alerts. Like so you encourage me to keep doing it. I got to tell you, several of you guys this week bought me a coffee. In the link, there's something called Coffee, Kofi, coffee. It just lets me know to keep doing these videos that you're finding value. I really appreciate it. So I like to say, buy me a cup of coffee. And I also want to say thank you for buying me a cup of coffee. It's cool. I mean, I'm doing this because I love it. And every time I see these likes coming through or guys buying me a coffee or commenting with questions or whatever, it encouraged me to keep going and keep doing this and sinking my time into this. I do love it. I appreciate you guys. So thank you. Last thing, reminder, Wednesdays, educational video. I'm going to be doing that going forward, starting this Wednesday. Every Wednesday, educational video. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, you probably want to subscribe now because I'm going to be dropping educational videos. If you're new to Elliott Wave, every Wednesday is going to be educational EW Wednesdays. All right. So I will see you then. Ask your questions in the comment sections. I will reply. Thanks again for watching. Take good care. And remember, when you're trading futures, very important, don't get killed. For real. Serious. All right. Thanks. See you in the club. The Professor Trades. Bye-bye. Take care.